All right. Well, welcome to Mixed, everybody, for our 8th episode. Glad to have you guys here. We got some exciting stuff to talk about today, so we'll just jump right in. Today we're going to talk about what decade we'd like to grow up in if we could grow up in a different decade. So why don't we start with, I don't know.
I'll go.
Okay.
If I was a teenager in any decade, I'd probably choose the 70s. Probably because I like the 70s for their music choice the most out of any other decade. And I just like the environment in the 70s, I guess. Like, it was just seemed more like laid back and like less stressful kind of lifestyle. So
Yeah, I feel like they're pretty relaxed. They had like Woodstock coming out, going on. A lot of fun times with everyone. But
Less stressful. You don't have as much, like, crap to deal with growing up, you know, like, nobody has phones or anything. You just, like, you ride your bike to your friend's house and stuff.
yeah.
That's what I like about it.
well, and less to worry about. Like, you know, like kids would just go out biking all day and no one would really care about like worry about their safety or whatever. So
That's true. I feel like that went into the 80s though.
Yeah.
I think you still had that security
See,
going on then.
that's the decade I would want to grow up in is the 80s because it's kind of the same thing. It's just, you know, the 80s is like this defining era. Like everything's, you know, happy and fun except for the Cold War where everybody thought they were going to die. But, you know, that's fine. Kids
Yeah.
don't really think about that stuff when you're outside.
I would have to agree with you. I think the 80s was probably the best decade. Also because of the fact that I'm pretty limited in my options after the 1960s. So, no, but I think the 80s are a good time because you get like all those cool like toys that were coming out, game
Yeah.
systems, like the advent of Nintendo and all that exciting stuff. A lot of cool movies. You get like Back to the Future. I mean, I guess Star Wars came out in the late 70s, so basically mostly 80s. Yeah.
See, like, I miss the days where, like, you could go outside and, like, just, like, go to your friend's house, like, knock on the door, be like, hey, come outside, and we're going to play, like, what?
Lawn darts.
Lawn darts?
Can
the
Jam.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we played, what was it? Ghost in the Graveyard, and we also played, we just rode our bikes around, honestly. I can't remember what else we played.
Zombie tag.
I don't remember.
You guys didn't
Zombie
play that? I guess I did.
Zombie Tag. Explain that.
Zombie tag, it's like someone's infected like a zombie, and then when you tag someone, they're it too. So now it's two people are it.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we
it's-
called that infection. We played that at Boy.
Wow.
Infection. Wow.
Wow, your vocabulary was, I guess,
Patrick.
more diverse than ours.
No, it's just when we were in Boy Scouts, we'd play infection like halfway through the meeting. We just get bored and then we go outside and play. That was fun. I miss those days because like now, you can't really go outside and like play with your friends now. It's kind of weird at this.
Well, it's
stage,
also
you know?
pretty cold out.
Okay. Well, obviously not today.
Yeah, we had some cold temperatures these past 2 days. It's been -3 without wind chill. So
Wind chill. It's been like -25.
yeah,
Negative
so
30 even,
Welcome
so.
to Ohio.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be 55 on Sunday. So you know.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow, look at that.
Hey.
That's crazy. It's only like 70 degrees more.
Yeah. We just kind of jump back and forth in Ohio. Like, I love the state for the people, but the weather is definitely not good.
Yeah.
Okay, before you guys forget about me, I'd say for my decade that I think the 90s will be the best decade to
The
live in.
90s.
90s are pretty cool. He had some really good music coming out. I think the 90s is really the advent of when like music started to change a little bit. I mean, you had the 60s, like
No, yeah.
the 60s and the 70s were like one thing, and then the 80s were a whole different thing with like synthwave and stuff like that. And then 90s turned around as like rock and stuff like that. Or I mean, rock was there before, but
Yeah.
rock, rap is a big thing that came around in the 90s too.
I feel like, to me, actually, I think the 90s is probably my least favorite decade. Like,
Really?
I don't feel like they changed that much in the 90s. Like, in some ways they did, I agree, but, like, I don't think they changed for the better from the 80s. You're coming out of the best decade, and you can't blame them. They tried, but, like,
I see
know.
the 90s as no offense to Josh, but I see the 90s as like the death of the 80s and the rise of like grunge and depression.
Yeah. I feel like, okay,
Probably.
I guess 2000s would honestly be worse than the 90s.
Yeah, 2000s
so,
is
Yeah.
definitely worse.
Yeah.
2010s is just
Because like right off the bat,
Uh,
we got 9/11, so you know
okay.
that was depressing.
Among other things, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 80s and 90s are actually pretty equal in my opinion.
See,
I don't really have a
one of the
preference.
biggest things I looked for in the decade I wanted to choose was like the childhood factor, because that's what I really miss. Like that was really fun. We used to do that here in this neighborhood. You know, we used to actually like record movies and stuff, and they were all really bad, but it was funny in the time.
I don't
Like,
think the 90s would have been that bad. I agree with Josh. Like, I think it would have been all right because there is a huge musical change in, like, the culture of music. Like, rap is a huge, and it's still very popular today. So I think the 90s wouldn't be that bad of a choice either. I think the 2000s would probably be the worst. I don't think right nowadays as being a teenager is that bad. Personally, I think this decade's all right.
Yeah.
I think
Really?
like
Okay, you would definitely not want to be like in middle school in the 2010s.
I was about to say, I'm
Because
pretty
you grew
sure
up
this
with
is.
Fortnite and stuff.
Oh yeah, God.
No, what
yeah.
I'm
no, I'm
concerned
saying like
with-
where we are now, like
Oh.
being a senior in 2019. I don't think it's.
kind of blows.
I really don't like. Yeah,
No.
I don't.
I don't
See,
think
what
it's
I'm
that
concerned
bad.
with is the coming generation, the generation of iPad brats that everybody's raising. That's annoying.
I'm scared.
Like every little kid has their own iPad and they play their little like cookie games or whatever.
We sound like old men, and we're literally like 18.
yeah, well,
but
well
17.
still, like,
18.
Yeah,
17.
I'm not.
I didn't
18.
have an iPad until I bought my own in 6th grade, and these parents are going and buying their kids one.
I had a
too.
I had the Leapster, the leapfrog thing. Yeah,
My man.
And that was my jam. Okay, I had like a SpongeBob game, and I grinded that thing out day and day again. Like I beat the game within the first week, but you know, you just gotta play it over and over again. Then you go out and play with your friends, play some Legos. I feel like Legos will be dead in maybe another decade.
That makes
They'll
me
be
sad. I
completely
love
gone.
No way.
Legos.
Really? You don't
No.
think so?
That's
That-
not just for kids, but they have like a bunch of adult collectors too.
I get that, but I don't know.
I
Yeah, I
think
guess
Legos are
I'll keep it
pretty
alive
timeless.
at least for that generation.
Yeah,
It's just so expensive.
That's
true.
true.
Oh, yeah,
Legos
they're
are
very
really
expensive.
expensive.
Because they have a monopoly over it. Like they,
Yeah.
what are the other? No one buys the generic blocks. That's like,
Mega Blocks.
and they own Duplo, but that's just a disgrace. So yeah, I don't know.
I remember my grandpa. He bought us like Duplo blocks when I was really, really young, and I was like, "What? What is this? Like this big?" And they just kind of suck.
Yeah, Duplo blocks are just they're an embarrassment to the company. Like my mom tried to get me to use those, and I was like, nah.
Another thing I really liked, it's kind of like the forgotten building block, but connects are actually really cool. Those little like stick things. with
I never
the
got into
connectors.
them, but I used to play with them at my friend's house sometimes. But yeah, I just never.
Did you guys ever go to the Stowe Library and you saw that like roller
Oh,
coaster
yeah.
they had?
Oh,
there?
yeah.
That
Oh
was
yeah,
so
and then they
cool.
took it down.
Yeah,
They took
that
it
was just
down.
nothing
I haven't
there.
been there in like
anymore.
years. I don't go to the
It used to be.
library.
It used to be under the stairs, like up to the kids' floor.
Yeah.
And then
They remodeled.
yeah.
That's something that'll be gone in 10 years. The library. Let me tell you.
Another thing that made me sad about the library is in 8th grade, I went there with a bunch of friends to do a project, and we went up to the kids' floor. You know, because they have the table up there, and they literally went up to us and they were like, "Hey, how old are you guys?" And we're like, 14. They're like, "Okay, you should be in the teen section," and they kicked us out.
They really.
Yeah, they were like, "You shouldn't be up here. This is for kids." And I was like, "All right, well, you just ruined my life. Thanks." But yeah,
I remember when they came out with the tween section for 13-year-olds. They're like, this is the next big thing. And it was the exact same as the kids section, except they added like a few more books. And you don't get the cool prizes. Do you remember the prize system with like the rubber ducks and stuff?
oh yeah,
Yeah, that was great. Then you lose it all. They're like, joke's on you.
I thought the prizes, like, you could get, for every 3 books you checked out, you got like a little scratch off thing. So I just get like 12 books, scratch them all off, and like read none of them, and then return them the next day and
You're
go
one
back
of those
in.
kids.
All right, can we talk about the library for a second? Because I feel like everybody who works there is either like really mean or really nice. Like the one lady who comes in and does all the teen stuff at like the high school, she's really nice. But then for Minecraft Mondays, I know, I used to do that. It was this thing where like you could play Minecraft with a bunch of nerds like yourself, and I thought that was fun. But anyway, so I
Can't
went
relate.
in, and after that lady, she like hyped us up. She was like, "Oh yeah, Minecraft Mondays will be so fun." So I signed up, and I went in. I went to the front desk. And I went, "Hi, excuse me, where's Minecraft Mondays?" And she literally looked at me, looked down, and just pointed upstairs. I was like, "Anything else?" And she was like, "It's upstairs." I was like, "Okay, great." So I just kind of wandered upstairs until I found it. But I was like, it's a bunch of old ladies who are living off their retirement plan.
I was about to say, just look for the nerdy kids surrounded on computer.
Okay, how is a library even like work anymore? Like, no one goes in, like, and like, they just had to have state funding. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way they're surviving.
In my opinion, the only libraries that should exist are college libraries, and everything else is irrelevant.
Most
Yeah.
people I know who go to the library here at Stowe go there to work. Like, I only go there to work on a project with people. Like, my mom goes there sometimes when she has to do, like, a project or, like, expense reports or something. She just goes there and, like, hammers them out.
But I feel like a Panera Bread serves that exact same purpose.
Oh yeah, I go to
That's
Panera all
true.
the time to work.
Yeah. Or Corner Cup is a big popular
Corner
place.
Cup's good. It's
You
a
get
little
good smells.
expensive, but it's definitely worth the ambiance. That's what you're paying for there.
The store for
Yeah, I kind of like the library though. It's like a peaceful environment. You know, everybody's
Yeah,
trying
because no one's there. It's barren
Yeah.
and empty.
That's true.
Yeah, that's going to
Actually,
be gone.
There were some people there every time I go. It's not like it's empty, but like people still go.
Yeah, the last time I went, which was like 4 years ago, the only guy that was in there was just using it for the computer. And then they caught him because he was looking at porn.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
That should tell you about the people that are going to the library.
Well, okay, that's not.
That's
Why
terrible.
would you? All right,
why?
that's a topic we're not going to get into.
Oh,
but-
man.
Oh, people are weird. Anyway, no, yeah, just looking back on the decades where like your childhood was more fun, and I'm thinking like a lot of kids aren't going to have the same childhood that I did. Like they're all going to be sitting at home playing Fortnite.
But that's the beauty of life, Josh. Everyone can have a different childhood.
Well,
but we are all
speaking of
human.
different childhoods, Joseph,
Oh,
you and I have some funny stories to tell.
we
about
do.
our-
Josh might as well. I don't know. Or Patrick. Yeah, so growing up in a Christian household is a somewhat unique experience for other people.
Yes.
I've enjoyed it, but it does have its ups and downs, namely Halloween time.
Yes, I have never been trick or treating ever.
I've been trick-or-treating once, and I think I was 16. So,
Awesome.
yeah, just... Though, to be fair, my mom would buy me a ton of candy come Halloween time, so it wasn't that, bad. I just kind of missed out on...
Another thing, I was not allowed to watch or read Harry Potter because my parents thought I was going to turn into a witch or something. I
Yep,
don't
same
know.
with me. I would just recently watched the Harry Potter series, maybe a year and a half ago. So, yeah, just kind of barred from that.
I don't know why. It's not like I'm going to believe this stuff. I know it's fake.
Yeah. Well, I remember on Halloween nights, we would usually just go out to a movie and then put a sign on the door, and we'd just be like, "Yep, sorry, we're not here." And you'd have those little kids that are knocking, like, "Hey, do you guys have any candy?" Or you'd be like, "Sorry, we don't celebrate Halloween." And then their hopes are just crushed. Where you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, there was one year where instead of, just my parents decided that they wanted to give out candy. So instead of, waiting inside and, having people ring on the doorbell and giving candy that way, my dad decided he wanted to build a bonfire in the middle of the driveway. So that's what we did. We just kind of sat out there and people would come up and they'd be like, trick or treat, and then we'd give them a candy. And my mom decided to print out 100 little Bible verses on strips of paper, and she tied one to each piece of candy and distributed that. And I think it was in 7th grade as a middle schooler. That was just
hey, you gotta spread the gospel somehow."
yeah,
Works through candy.
honestly right now it wouldn't be that bad because you're just trying to spread your beliefs, but as a middle schooler where
Oh yeah, no, it's traumatizing
where
in the
everything
moment.
is awkward, and especially when you have people your age walking away saying, "Why are they giving these out now?" That happened, by the way.
Really?
Loud and clear.
Oh,
they
man.
didn't hold back, and I was like,
Yeah, I remember dressing up because you have the classroom parties, and you don't want to miss out on those because those are the big thing when you're in those grades,
Yeah.
elementary school. So my mom's compromise for me was that I could go to them if I dressed up as a Bible character.
Oh, wow.
"Wait, you got to go to the
Oh,
school
I got to
Halloween
go.
parties?"
Oh yeah,
My
I
mom
went.
called me off school those days.
Really?
I was not allowed
I think
to go to
the
Halloween
first maybe kindergarten I got called off, and then we made the compromise.
Wasn't it they would march around the school or something?
Yep.
Yeah, I never got to do that.
Yeah, the one year I got to choose a secular person was Abraham Lincoln. So that was an exciting year. A lot of
And the other thing I want to talk about is the fact that my brother is allowed to trick or treat now.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a double standard
That-
right there.
Not happy about that, but it's okay. He also, well, to be fair, he did go as a waffle. He literally had a waffle costume with a head cut out, and he just wore it.
Yeah.
So there was that, but
I need to see him wear that.
I mean, it's downstairs. You could have asked him.
Oh, I saw that.
What if
I
it
saw
made-
it too. It looked real good.
It was interesting. Yeah, he just walked around with a waffle on his head. Oh, another thing, my parents protested so much about it was the Cub Scout Halloween party that they changed it to a fall harvest costume party. and they said no gory costumes. And then this one kid showed up, and he literally had a knife, and on the inside it was like blood, literally.
Oh, no.
And they made him take it off, and he was like, "I'm protesting." He was in like 3rd grade, and then they told him to take it away, and he got really mad. But I was like, you know what? Sorry.
One of the benefits, though, about being a Christian during Halloween time is that you get the big harvest party. Like, we would do huge harvest parties at our church, and then you got a ton of candy. You got to play games and stuff, and then everybody would come in, and you just got to play games with a bunch of random people. So it was a good time. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
So.
Patrick, you guys got any crazy stories?
Not any crazy ones, but my parents wouldn't let me play like violent video games. So
I wasn't allowed to either.
yeah, so I haven't played like I never like I could now, but like I'm just not like had never started into anything. So
Yeah, I feel like that can be good though for some people. I don't know. Like, I wasn't allowed to play video games for a while. Now I do, but there's something to be said. But like the reports that are like, oh, it's directly related to like levels of aggression and stuff. Like, I don't know about
causation and correlation, you know.
that.
Here,
Yeah.
I have one more question. So, if you're like all sitting in the living room, like your family, and you're watching a movie, and then they say a bad word, what do your parents do?
My
Because
parents
my
usually
parents
just
don't
ignore it
care.
at this point.
They don't care with the language, but like my mom still like when we're watching and like some guys start kissing, she'll jokingly be like, "Patrick, close your eyes," and I'll like it's just like awkward. Like you're like you don't want to be sitting there watching a movie and like you're with your mom and there's like a sex scene. You're just like, ooh.
The most awkward point is when you're watching the movie and it's like it looks like they're going to go into like a sex scene, but then they don't actually, so you still have to just cover your eyes. But then nothing ever happens. You just miss like a minute of.
If there's a
the
bad
film.
word in a movie, my parents yell really loud. They're like, "Ah!" Like so that we don't hear it. I'm like, okay. And then they always apologize. They're like, "Sorry, didn't want you to hear that." I'm like, "Well, I'm in high school, so
Yeah,
it's
unfortunately, it is a.
No, whenever there's an uncomfortable
Effectively.
scene like that, I always get up and I just say I need to use the bathroom.
That's what I
Use the
do.
bathroom.
No, I've done the
yeah.
exact same thing. Like they'll be about to like enter into a sex scene or whatever. I'm just like, okay, and then I just excuse myself and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I know it's.
And you're just like listening through the door to like wait till it's over.
I
and then
usually
you walk out.
what I do is I go in, I just flush the toilet. I
Yep.
wait a few seconds, flush the toilet. I just run to the sink and then I listen
That's
out the
the
door.
exact same
You guys are
Until-
so weird.
So, Josh, you got anything to say about your parents? Anything at all?
I mean, not really. My parents have been pretty lenient, except I wasn't allowed to play like violent video games until recently. I mean, I still probably can't play Grand Theft Auto. That's just what it'll
Yeah,
be.
that's
I don't
true.
really have a desire to play it either. I just play Call of Duty Black Ops 4. If you ever want to play with me, send me a message and we can do some pub stomps.
My parents still don't let me play games like that.
Really?
Yeah, because
Like-
you have a Nintendo Switch, Josh. Nothing.
That's
violent on the
true.
Switch.
Okay, well, so do you, Joseph. I don't want to hear it.
But
He
I'm
has
a
an
dual
Xbox.
console owner, so
I'm a dual console owner technically.
What, Xbox 360?
It's an Xbox One. Thank
That's
you.
Big Brothers.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
about to
it's
say
okay,
this, right?
well, still I use
That's
it.
weak,
Sure.
Josh.
I mean, to be fair, I use it to play Minecraft, but you know, that's fine.
Yeah, that should tell you everything you need to know, everyone.
Josh hasn't changed much since middle school.
Yeah, I have. I don't. You should. Okay, you should.
Now he
you should
likes
see-
metro trains.
Instead of ski lifts and
Listen
buses.
to me. Listen to me very carefully, okay? Metro
Metro, buses,
DC
whatever.
only.
Oh, no, okay.
Metro is Washington DC, okay? Not every subway system is called a metro.
What's New York City?
Subway.
Subway.
The Metro?
The New York City subway. Nobody says New York City Metro. That's not
I
how it
feel
is.
like I've heard that. I
You
feel
have?
like that's
What,
valid.
Yeah.
from like the tourists who don't know what they're talking about?
The tourists who don't know what they're talking
I'm just saying.
What about Chicago with all those
It's
tourists?
the L. Oh yeah, Chicago
Yeah.
is a tourist capital.
It is.
Totally.
That's an inside joke, sorry.
Yeah. It's-
Yeah, sorry guys.
But anyway, we digress. I like saying that. It's
we
kind of fun.
digress. I'm so smart.
All right.
Play Minecraft.
I do play Minecraft. Minecraft's fun. Okay. People underestimate Minecraft, okay? Because you can build whatever you want. And that's what I think is cool. You can build like towns and.
Anything with a square.
Okay, great
It's
observation.
actually
I
a
built a
cube.
circle.
You should see my house that I built. I built a pretty sick house.
Oh, Josh built some great houses.
Really, Joseph? Do you want to talk about yours?
My house was beautiful.
It's
okay.
disgusting.
It's Can you believe this guy? It is a modern house that models falling waters.
It's a monolith.
No, it
Monolith? What the?
Let me tell you right now, Joseph, it mocks sitting on a cube. Okay? It is sitting on a cube. You really built around it. You like ruined
Okay,
the
well,
mountain.
I'm trying to make it realistic to have structural support, okay? It's just going to hover there?
Yes.
Really?
No, it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
do something that's not.
Whatever. You guys don't want to listen to this. let's be
Realistic
honest.
people build tastefully.
Yeah, I build tastefully. You
Josh
should
build
see my
something.
Well, anyway.
So I guess to bring it back to like what we weren't allowed to do, was there anything like else you guys want to share about that?
I'm trying to think. I feel like there's some other stuff that I.
Yeah, like I guess like some things, like when I was like 8, I used to say what the all the time. Like I didn't know what came after that. Like I just would say what the and then my dad would like freak out. He's like, stop saying that. And I didn't know it was bad. I would just be like playing a game and lose, and I'd just be like what the, and I wouldn't like, oh.
My grandparents were super like, they were super weird about like believing in Santa and stuff. Like
Oh.
it was to the point where it was almost insane. Like my brother found out about the truth about Santa like really, really early.
How early?
But for some reason they weren't happy with that, so they'd still try to shove it down his throat that Santa's real. Like
Wait,
they'd
what?
be like,
I thought they were going the opposite way.
Yeah,
no. They're like weird about everybody believing in Santa. Like my brother said something, he was like, Santa's not real, and I was like, yeah, he's not. And she looked back at me, she goes, if you say that one more time, I am driving you home. We were going to Chuck E. Cheese, so I shut up because I wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese. The place
You
is
be
great.
quiet when you're
The
going to
place for
Chuck E.
pink guy.
Place for pink eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kept like a communal bath or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never went to
without
the
the water.
I've never been there, but I've heard they improved the pizza because it used to taste like cardboard, but I don't know if that's true.
One time, my grandpa ordered me a birthday cake from Chuck E. Cheese, and we were waiting on it. So he went up and he was like, hey, how much longer the cake? And they're like, well, it's still defrosting. So and that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is
This is a mistake.
yeah.
But okay, so yeah, my parents told me about Santa that he wasn't real when I was like 2 years old. So there was no point that I ever believed in Santa basically, because my mom didn't want to lie to me, which I was like, okay, fair point. But still, it kind of took out some of the Christmas magic. And same with the Tooth Fairy. My mom would be like, okay, I'm gonna drop $5 underneath your pillow tonight. So I was like, well,
My
keep it
parents
real.
never did the tooth fairy thing. Actually, my dad did once, and he gave me a $10 bill, but he wrote Josh's first tooth on it. And now I'm not allowed to spend it. He's like, you can't spend that. You have to give it to your next child. I'm like,
so you have to name them
You-
Josh.
child
yeah.
Josh.
The
like,
legacy
just
must
scratch off the
continue.
name and like change it. I don't know. It's
Fair
still
enough.
sitting in my room right now. Like,
My first
there.
tooth, I swallowed it. My mom like pulled it with the string. I hated the string pulling. Oh my god! And I inhaled, and I don't have it anymore.
did I tell you
so.
how I lost my first tooth? I was eating a banana. It was the weirdest thing ever. It must have been super, super loose because I remember biting into the banana. I was like, oh, this is crunchy.
Oh,
And then it was like bleeding, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I found the tooth. I was like, hey, just kidding.
I love my crunchy bananas.
I remember one time I lost a tooth at Lakeview, like during lunch. So I went down to the nurse's office. I was like, hey, I lost a tooth. Like my mouth was bleeding and I'm holding it. And she goes, oh, okay, I got you. And then she pulls out one of those little treasure chests for the tooth.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, here you go. I was like, is that it? She's like, yeah, you can go back to lunch now. And I'm sitting here like bleeding. And so I
Yeah.
just went back and I just grabbed a bunch of paper towels and I was like shoving it in my mouth. I'm like, thanks, Lakeview nurse.
You'd be. I don't understand how much blood comes out when you lose a tooth. I swear, it just gush. For me, a ton. Like for an hour, it would be. coming
Really?
out. Yeah.
When I lost my first tooth, it wasn't that much blood, and I remember this because I was eating mini M&Ms, and like this one mini M&M wasn't breaking, because I was like, and then it's a tooth.
Okay.
So
I remember I was at my friend Philip's house and I bit down on a fork sideways for some reason, like by accident. Like when I was eating, I just bit down on it sideways and I popped a tooth out and I thought it was an adult tooth. So I started flipping out because I was probably like 13 at this point or whatever. I was convinced it was an adult tooth. So I was like crying and flipping out and
That's cute.
yeah, you know. And then I like put in milk, and we were like, I called my mom. I was like, "Well, I lost my tooth." She's like, "Okay, we'll go tomorrow to the dentist and see what they can do." And then we went to the dentist, and they're like, "Yeah, no, that's a baby tooth." So
wow.
that was awkward, but it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, shoot, there's another one I was gonna say. No, okay. So one time, my brother and I were like fake wrestling, like brothers and stuff. And I don't know what he did, but I was wearing a hoodie, and he literally grabbed one of these strings and he put it in his mouth, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he yanked it out, and out came a tooth. He was like, "Thanks, I needed that." What was that, Cooper? He's like,
brother's
"I had
a
this
tank."
tooth, and I just needed to get it out." I'm like, "All right, you weirdo."
My brother pulled one of my teeth out of my mouth once, and that was actually probably the least painful tooth pulling experience I've ever had for some reason. Like, we were in the airport, coming back from a mission trip. So I think we were in South Africa, and then I was like, "Oh, Mom, I want to get this tooth out." For some reason, she was like, "Okay, I'll pay you $5 if you get it out in the next hour or something." I was like, "What is happening?" Anyways, so my brother, he just reached in my mouth. He's like, "Okay, you baby," and he pulled it out. And it was fine. It didn't hurt at all. And it was pretty nice.
I remember losing teeth. It was so weird because like all of a sudden your tooth would just start wiggling like back and forth.
Yeah, that's
And
like
just,
such a weird feeling. I'm
And,
glad
like,
I don't
you
have
tried
to deal
to pull
with
it
that.
out and it would be like too early, so you couldn't get it out, but it would still wobble back and forth. Like that sucked.
I lost my last tooth when I was like 16.
No,
Like,
yeah,
I was very late.
I didn't lose teeth during elementary school almost at all, and then like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I lost like all the rest. It was weird. Like I remember I lost like 2 teeth one week, and then one more the next week. It was almost a tooth a week, like, and then it just stopped. All right, well, that's all my tooth stories. So you guys have anything else to share?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
so.
All right, well then, I think that's enough for today. So, thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for listening to Josh Bain and all of his commentary today. A lot of
Yeah, a
interesting
lot of
things.
good material coming out of Josh today.
Thanks for listening to Josh Frico on Minecraft today.
I like Minecraft. Sorry, Patrick.
Come on now. We're
My
not
bad,
amateurs.
All right. Well, tune in the next 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yep.
2 weeks.
Okay, tune in 2 weeks. We'll have another one for you guys. Thanks for being here.
Yep. See you
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.